going to be the death of me.
Oh, he did start recording.
That'll be the first thing. Okay. Well, you know what? You know what, guys? We can do this. We can get better than a C+ on our first doing. Okay. Anyway, we should.
So he did say on our feedback to include more sources. I thought I did include some sources, maybe just because I didn't like officially works cited them. I just kind of said where they were in the body.
Yeah, when I went through the paper, I took your sources and I put them in the APA. There's a special website that you just insert the website and then it'll pop up the source. And so I created a source for your sources.
Oh, thank you.
So it should have been okay.
Oh, okay, good.
How many sources did we have? We had like 6 or 7.
I didn't source anything, so I know.
It's because he's so knowledgeable,
Yeah.
he doesn't need to find sources. He just knows all of this stuff.
If
Only we could source Adam's brain.
If that were the case, I wouldn't be in college right now.
Well, anyway, so I guess everyone should plan to at least use one source in each paragraph, I guess.
Okay.
At least. I don't know. It didn't say in the assignment or like in the instructions.
Kind of is very vague, I feel like.
Yeah, but anyway, on that note, Connor, you're leading the discussion
Shall we just
today,
start?
right?
No?
No, you are too. I saw that smile.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay, so first off, we're gonna put ourselves into the situation of Linda Merton, because she has a meeting in an hour or so to talk about if they should fire. They have his name. I'm just gonna call him by his first name because his last name's weird.
This is for Akoa. Right?
Yeah. Where is it? No, they only give us his last name.
Wait, no,
Stepancic.
South died.
His name's Stepancic. That's the guy that they want to fire.
Okay.
So what would you guys do? Did you guys, so the fax that got sent was in Exhibit 12. I don't know if you guys read that. These exhibits, unless
What week are
I'm directed to them.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys read it, or?
Yeah, I read it, but let me just review real fast because
I'll review it. It's in this one.
between all my classes and all the different cases.
Exactly.
I was gonna say, you guys are case heavy, and so they all kind of get mixed up which case you're working on.
I have 2 online classes and we read a case every single week and mix them up constantly. Exhibit 12, is that what you said?
Yeah, I can just read the first paragraph real quick.
Okay.
It talks about what happened. So last night, Stepancic directed Carl Olson, the electrician, to repair an electrical conduit. The repair required Olson to work way too close to the pot line in a congested area. While making the repair, he slipped on some loose material and stuck out his hand to catch himself. In the fall, Olson suffered a second degree burn to his hand and forearm and dislocated his shoulder. It goes on to talk about how he's a good supervisor. He's one of the best. His crew's one of the best. It's the 3rd incident like that this year. He's been warned several times he shouldn't have sent Olson there in the first place. And they want to send a message, apparently.
Well, that would definitely send the message if they fired him. That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's hard though, because
Why is it?
send a message, but is it worth firing someone? I don't know.
Yeah, especially because, it's that company employs pretty much the entire town, so it's not just sending a message to the employees, but also to the town members.
Community, yeah.
Who wants to take his place? Like, oh, dude.
I guess who's like the conduit needs to be fixed no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what, an employee was going to be going close to what did it say?
The
The pot line.
The pot line. Okay, so no matter what, an employee was going to be going close to the pot line. What should he have done?
They're saying that he should have taken some precautions before sending him in there. It doesn't really state what precautions.
Like, should the employee not, like the employee going in there, there's loose material. Like, at what point is the employee responsible for making his own area safe to work in? Does that make sense? I'm going in. Yeah, okay, let me tell you this. My dad was fixing my car when I was 16. And he had to fix something with the check engine light. Usually he's a pretty good mechanic. Sometimes he decides, that's a step I don't really need to do. Meaning he decided not to disconnect the battery and electrocuted himself. Okay? Whose responsibility is that? His safety supervisor or him being an idiot and choosing not to follow a step? Like, it's just kind of, I feel like at what point do you have to be responsible for yourself?
I think that the employer or the safety supervisor is responsible for laying out the expectation of the safety procedure, and then the employee is responsible for carrying it out.
Because I feel like too often we blame everybody else for our own misfortune. And so I'm sorry that you slipped on loose material. One, why was the loose material there? Was it because another employee left it out and they shouldn't have? Or did it belong there and you should have cleaned it up before preparing to go to work on something rather dangerous?
Right.
supervisor's fault or just
I kind of don't think it is.
because it's the third time something like this has happened. So obviously there's something wrong with the procedure of doing things. And they're trying to blame the supervisor for it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I guess if it's a pattern 3 times in a year, that's not good. And is it
something obviously needs to change, and instead of changing the procedure itself, they want to hire someone totally new to make that happen.
I don't think that's going to solve the problem.
I don't think so.
And I wonder what kind of warning he's received, because it said that he's been warned several times, but has it just been like, hey, you got to be careful out there, something very vague, or is it like, hey, you need to make sure that this never happens again, or this will happen to your job, something like that? Like, how serious of a warning was it for him to really be aware? That's just the question that I think of.
Yeah, because I feel like in an environment like that where there's any number of things could happen. I mean, similar instances doesn't necessarily mean that 2 times before employees have slipped on loose materials. It could have been 2 times before employees got burned because of something else. Maybe it's you need to make sure that your employees are, maybe the warning is making sure your employees are trained on the procedures that they need to do, and he's not following through on the training. If that's the case, then yes, it is a supervisor problem. If he's not training his employees on the procedures and making sure your workspace is clear, making sure you're doing stuff according to procedure, yes, then he's responsible. But if the supervisor is following all company procedures and policies, and this is still happening, then it's not the supervisor's fault.
Yeah, I agree with you. No, something that intrigued me with this memo is that Olson, the one who was injured, it said that the stuff that he was doing required him to be in a non-safe zone. So, like, he was doing what he was supposed to do, and that they knew that it was unsafe to begin with. Be careful, and then
Really stems
accident
to
happened.
procedure because, well, I mean, the vision, right, of the company is going in the direction that there should be no injury, like manufacturing shouldn't require you to be put into unsafe situations. Like you should be able to avoid that through procedure. That's what it kind of seemed to outline when we were reading it. So,
And here he is going in an unsafe,
To an
required to
unsafe.
go to an unsafe condition or atmosphere, whatever.
So do we kind of agree that it's not his fault, the supervisor's fault,
Maybe.
the scenario? Because we don't know the details
No
of.
more.
yeah, I don't know that we can
We
definitively
don't know
say
enough
that it's
to
not
say
his
that
fault.
it's, yeah. Innocent until,
Mhm.
because like what Whitney said, if he's the one making the rules and telling them what to do, then yeah, it's his fault. But if he's following the procedure that's outlined for him, then
Okay. So if they were to fire him, what kind of implications would it have on workers, families, supervisors, and senior management?
well, it'd put everyone a little on edge. They're like, oh, like we really mean business now. We're gonna have to talk safety, and it's probably gonna create a big commotion because they still have to fix the problem.
Mhm.
I mean, what if the problem isn't the supervisor? And they've just created a whole new problem for them because
Yeah.
they're hiring someone who doesn't even know
How the procedure.
how the procedure works.
Mhm.
I feel like we just don't have enough information to say whether that's going to create more problems or not. Because we don't know whether it's a supervisor or not.
And for
Yeah.
being a 22-page case, you'd think we'd have plenty.
Right? You'd think not that I definitely don't want it to be longer.
Oh dear. Oh, funny.
Something that I can kind of relate to. So my brother works for a company. They're, from what I've heard, they're pretty poorly managed, like throughout the entire company. And there'll be times that some really good employees will just be fired because their job's not relevant anymore. But there's no warning whatsoever coming from upper management about that. And so, like for him, he doesn't necessarily like where he lives, so he wants to move anyways. But it gives him that feeling like, how long will I be able to stay here if I wanted to, anyways? Because who knows when his job's going to become irrelevant to the company.
Yeah, lack of job security.
Mm-hmm. And so I feel like if this guy was to be fired, it'd kind of send a message throughout to all the supervisors, like, hey, if you make one mistake, that could be it for you. And I mean, I think that pressure is good, but I think if the pressure is too high, then it could just make people more nervous and too cautious.
They'll
And
probably
when,
quit.
yeah, and in their work scenario, being too cautious isn't good because it's a risky job.
Well, I definitely think if the policies and procedures are there, it's a fine policy to have. Like, so all throughout college, when we were young, my husband worked at the private airport, and they trained a ton on how to avoid accidents and all that stuff. Because, I mean, you just break off one of those little wing electric things, and that's thousands and thousands of dollars to fix on an airplane. And so if you had an accident, you were fired. That's just the way it was. And that was reasonable because you had all the training to back it up. You knew what you were supposed to do. They had it logged in. You were told and trained on this information. You passed it off in a logbook. They saw every employee knew what they were supposed to be doing. And so they knew, and like they interviewed everybody in like the accident, but they knew that if an accident happened, it was a negligent employee. That's the only way an accident could have happened, because they all were aware. And so I feel like in this situation, we don't know what the training policies were to definitively say it was a negligent employee, it was a negligent supervisor, or the company's negligent for not providing the training and the policies in place to protect them.
Because it's putting the responsibility on the employee rather than the supervisor. No one would want to be a supervisor if they got fired every time an employee made a mistake.
Exactly. The supervisor's job is to make sure your employees get to their training and that you log it and know who needs training. And if they need training, that they're not on the floor.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I just feel like there's too many variables. There's too many things we don't know. I can't say.
Yeah, because we know more about their safety, but not necessarily this one particular incident. Because most of the case was just talking about Mission, like that area.
Right. That's
Yeah.
not the same area though, is it? Because that's what I was going to ask is, I mean, we know that they did in Mission, what is it? Mission
It was
Valley.
Mission Valley.
Valley. They had they had anywhere that you had to wear earplugs on motorized vehicles, right?
Uh-huh.
And like that was after the incident. But if this is a completely different area, then yeah.
And honestly, how would earplugs save this person?
Well,
They
not
wouldn't
earplugs.
have.
It's just that if you wore earplugs in that area, change wherever it was too loud not to wear earplugs, that forklifts couldn't be in that area.
Oh. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the information they gave us is irrelevant to the decisions we're making.
That's a lot of procedures because you're having tons of different things going on. They have separate procedure for this area and for this area. That's one big safety manual. But
Mhm.
if they're continually being trained on that kind of stuff, an area, then
Yeah, you got to know your job, and
that's the price you pay for the money you get, I guess. That doesn't make any sense, but
well, no, I feel like the company, as the company, you are in that industry and you charge the prices you need to charge. That's your overhead. That's the cost of doing business, and you have to plan for that and plan for if we are having accidents and we're unsafe, we need to make plans to be safe. And if that's making sure our employees are specifically trained in their area, because there are so many different areas that bad things can happen. And hey, you're not authorized to be in this zone because you are not safe here. You know, I just think there's too many, somebody else, you can only control your own actions. And, you know, you can't be held responsible for somebody else's
Choices
actions.
of other people.
Yeah, the choices of other people. So you need to be able to give them the information to make their own choices.
Okay. So he wants us to break into groups, but we are low in attendance.
We have one.
So I think we'll just kind of do it as one group. Okay, so we're going to look at exhibits 3 and 7 for this first portion. And we're going to look at the difference between, as safety improves, does productivity increase or decrease?
3 and 7, let's see.
You said exhibits 3 and 7?
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, it's a long case.
And we're talking about safety improving over the course of the years.
Yes, like are they becoming more productive as safety increases, or are they becoming less productive?
Oh.
Let me look at exhibit 3. Okay, so we're gonna have to combine, because exhibit 3 is showing the hours worked in each department.
And then the work.
And exhibit 7's showing injuries.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
an
So-
average of injuries.
Well, so if you look at it, in 1991, they're significantly safer than in 1987.
Mhm.
Increase. Oh, fabrication's increased.
And then,
I'm going to copy all this data into an Excel spreadsheet and do the like calculation so we can see, and I'll share my screen once I get that
Oh, okay, cool.
fixed.
Well, there's a lot less smelting, looks like it. Um,
well, I'm just dividing the works total by the hours. And, or wait, hold on. Never mind, that doesn't work.
wait, the average works?
Yeah, because you see the employee hours,
Yes.
and then you've got their works total, their production, and you can see how much they're producing in the hours that they have. Because if you look in 1987, where they were very unsafe, they were working 7,400 hours and producing 185, but they're working a lot less hours in 1991,
Right.
or in August of 1991. Oh, so it's not for the full year. That's why. That's why the numbers are so.
And then this one,
If you divide it by the whole thing,
this
660.
says for every 200,000 hours worked, there were that many injuries.
Yes.
Okay. Production works total.
So like in 1987, there were it was 39.9 hours for one works, whatever that was. So 39.9 hours of labor across the departments for one works. And then in August of 1991, when safety is much higher, there's only 34 hours per one work. So they are getting more efficient.
Well, that's good.
As they get safer. They're getting more efficient by like 6 hours per
Wow.
minute.
A good improvement.
Because I think that's where you have to look at it across all departments.
Numbers up here are like 7,000. So that's like if they. That's like almost a month. In a month of work, they'll have the 20 some odd incidents in that. Ooh.
That's across the company though. That's like every employee, right?
Is it? By production
Yeah,
department?
it has to be.
Yeah. So in almost a month of work, they'll have 15 injuries,
Wow.
almost 6
Well, in
of that.
87, right? But
rolling.
still 9 in just August alone. That's
They still have a lot of improvement.
That's true.
There's a long way to go. But there is an improvement.
That's true. For fabrication.
I wonder why.
I don't know. That's
Hmm.
And for there's another one that got worse for it too.
Production works total. Oh, but this is in thousands. Oh, so this is. So I need to add 3 zeros to that.
Yeah.
Do I? Okay, so that makes it a little better. I don't know what I just did. I don't think I did that right. But you saw how I did the last one.
Yeah.
That made sense,
Yeah.
but that's obviously not in this case because it's in thousands.
So are we to the consensus that they're
Tons.
getting better?
Well,
I think in some departments
Yes.
they're improving, and some they
They're
definitely
improving.
aren't. But
as a whole, they're improving very slightly.
Except for in August.
yeah,
They're higher than the previous sections. Yeah. We can move on. So as they're getting safer, are they becoming more productive? The answer would be yes. Okay, sorry. Okay, we're gonna look at Exhibit 5. We're supposed to figure out which injury numbers are improving and which are going up.
fabrication's going up. I think. Oh, that's not in here.
No, this is a different one. So total serious injuries. Which ones are going up and which are going down? Well,
Yes.
all of those who are at 0 in 91, they seem to be doing pretty good.
Well, that's 1 month though.
That's just 1 month.
Oh. It's all year just to.
It's kind of confusing because the first 4 are all 1-year segments and then they split it up into 8 months, 1
And
month.
then we have.
We can just look at like 1990. And then,
Compare 1990 to 89.
yeah, 90 to 89, and then kind of look comparatively to 91. So like
Hazardous
atmospheric is going up.
higher. Which one?
Atmospheric injuries are going up.
Improper position. Yeah. That one's definitely going up.
Well,
Well, I mean, if you added those.
oh, is that one of
Hazard looks to be going up. It kind of bounces up and down, but
Yeah.
they're 8 months, they're at 6 compared to 7 in the previous year.
Mm-hmm.
it went down and then it went back up in proper position.
So it went down by like 8. Then it went down by 7. Then it went up by 3. Then went down by 20. They have off and on. Something's wrong with that. It shouldn't still be in the hundreds. That's what I think. Obviously, they're neglecting this one.
I think they're not
Because,
training on that very
yeah.
well. 'Cause you should know whatever the position is that
Yeah.
you're supposed to be doing for the job. Like when I worked for UPS, we had very specific ways that we had to like lift boxes
Oh, yeah.
and yeah.
So this is one that they're definitely neglecting. And it's the most injuries that they'll have every single year. Yeah.
So he wants us to categorize the types of injuries that are improving compared to the ones that are not.
Oh.
Okay.
Um,
Noise hazard.
Well, let's compare to congestion because that one was high at first,
and that's going down.
but now it's going down. So they're getting a hold on how many people are in certain locations, but
and equipment as well. I mean, I'd put that in as congestion. And that kind of ties in with atmospheric. You know, they're making the atmospheres better as well.
Mm-hmm.
Unsafe speed has dropped significantly. which we kind of knew was going to happen from the case because of the forklift.
Yeah.
They're starting to use the right tools. In 1987, there were 28 injuries because they were using the wrong tool.
That
Oh,
seems
boy.
like a procedure problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, um,
Yeah, it seems like the noise hazard and the atmospheric are both
mhm.
similar. And then improper position, what is that?
That's like, I'm guessing, the way that you perform a task physically, like how you lift something, or that's the best I can think of, because just the movement of your
Yeah.
body in a
That's what I
procedure.
would think. That or you're in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I'd say the conditions where management or like the company can control themselves have decreased significantly to the employee kind of linger in the same spot for the most part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, compared to the ones that you can control by keeping it clear and making it quieter kind of thing. But the next one we're going to look at Exhibit 6, and we're supposed to we'll go through the list of sample injuries and look for common themes and causes.
Okay. Injury. You're cold.
Galloper operator.
Galloper. Oh, scalper.
Right?
I thought you said galloper, like
Oh.
a horse around.
Galloper. What are you like? What does that thing do?
Oh. I've read a few that talk about something was in the way, whether it was stuff dripped on the floor or
Yeah. and you
tripped over
it.
something that was on the floor.
Sounds like they hire clumsy people.
Yeah.
Or they don't keep
Or
the workspace.
The workspace is not picked up.
Or maybe
Like,
they're
isn't
not.
that
There's a couple when like their hand slips, like they just
So improper.
didn't have something in their hand held correctly, so
Yeah.
maybe they didn't have gloves when they needed them, or
handling certain objects
they didn't
without
know.
care.
Yeah, they didn't know how to handle the machine. In this case, okay. Is it just one page? Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. Work truck ran over right foot.
Mm.
Oh dear.
So operation training is important.
Mhm.
Workspace cleanliness and handling of tools, I'm guessing, are like the main ones.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the
Maybe they're
scalper
hiring
operator.
a lot of problems, and then something happens, then their knee's busted.
Okay. So what can we learn about safety at Mission Valley from this list?
Pick up after yourself. Just if you do those small things, then it could help you, because those small things can work against you.
Don't be negligent.
Yeah. Just do the work to get the work done, but do it so that it's right and that.
I think just taking some care in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Maybe some gloves.
Yeah, some gloves.
Maybe some gloves. But then also just making sure the floor and the area is clear of debris. a
Housekeeping.
clean work environment.
Their treatment should be, now go home and pick up everything off your floor. I was like, oh, that'd be funny.
So which type of problems do you think are easiest to solve? The ones that are expensive or the ones that involve people's behavior?
Oh, I think the cost ones are easier because you're trying to get people to readjust their attitude about how work should be done when it's been done a certain way the whole time they've worked there.
Yeah.
Well, and then it's people acknowledging that the problem lies with their behavior instead of the company.
Mhm.
Especially because they mentioned how the employees can be prideful, like a rite of passage to get injured while you're working, and it makes you an official Alcoan kind of thing.
I do wonder
That's so
though,
sad.
I wonder if it's the opposite with smaller companies though, because like smaller companies, they don't have as much money, those costly problems, but they have less employees to have to like shift the mindset of, right? And maybe they'd be more like,
Yeah.
really, I'm talking like really small businesses. So I wonder if that would be like different with a smaller business.
I think it might, because if you get a few people to jump on board, it'll kind of, people join the bandwagon. If there's 20 people working in a manufacturing company, you get, the top 3, guys that everyone enjoys being around to follow, then it'll be a lot better than having to control 2,000 free-minded employees. Okay, so what has Mission Valley done in the past to improve its safety record so much that they have so few serious injuries compared with other similar companies? We should know a lot about this because we actually read it.
They put the governors on their forklifts, right? They instituted the earplug wearing.
They did better with the pedestrians, like the sidewalks and roadways.
Mhm.
Let's see, what else did they do?
Procedures.
Good.
They learned from their mistakes. Like when something happened, then they did something about it so that it wouldn't happen again.
Yeah. What would you say the challenges for the future are? What's going to stop them from becoming more safe?
Finding and seeing potential problems before an injury happens. Because right now they're reacting instead of being proactive and saying this could be a problem.
You should, like
the
a wise man who learns from other companies' mistakes, like other people's mistakes, rather than learning from their own mistakes. Look within other manufacturing companies and see where lie, and then fix them within your own company before they happen to your employees.
Yeah, or get an OSHA representative to come down and, point out potential threats and fix them.
My brother-in-law works for a steel company, and they had a pretty bad incident a couple months ago, and OSHA got involved, and he just started to complain about how OSHA can be very nitpicky. Then, it's not bad, but he kind of complained about it a little bit.
Oh yeah, it's a big deal to get OSHA involved. It's a nightmare, but you're going to be compliant. And then if an employee gets injured, all right, sue them and not us. They're the ones that said this was safe.
Yeah.
Company protection.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're almost done. We just got a few more things. Do you guys follow safety procedures?
No.
It worked, yeah.
Do you wear a seatbelt?
I don't have a job.
I'm not at work now.
I'm not at work. Yes,
Do you guys
I follow safety.
drive the speed limit? use a ladder instead of a chair, cross at crosswalks. These are just examples.
Oh yeah,
I
like every
follow some-
I've gone to clean the temple a couple times this semester. There's always that video that you watch before you clean the temple that talks about that. You know, use a ladder instead of the chair. Make sure you wear gloves.
It's a $74.65 fine for jaywalking, something like that, in Rexburg.
and they issue tickets.
Maybe I don't follow safety precautions. I did jaywalk the other day.
You just recorded that for the whole world, Maddie.
Oh, I did.
Criminal!
This is live.
Oh my gosh. Let us know if the police come knock down your door.
Oh dear.
Don't say your address.
I don't-
Okay.
I follow
So
these-
last thing we need to do is we need to review her safety plan that she's going to present after they talk about firing the guy. So that's Exhibit 11. So we need to figure out which ones are going to help the company reach their goal, address the ones that won't help so much, and add what we think they should do differently.
I really like the first two.
The only thing I don't like about the second one is it doesn't say what a stage 3 training is.
I'm guessing it's common knowledge between the supervisors, but
If you read the case, I'm
Oh.
just kidding.
Oh,
I don't know.
Yeah, that's
I
probably.
read it. I don't.
I read the record.
No.
I don't really know what a biweekly newsletter on safety would do. I don't think a lot of them would read
Yeah, I
it.
don't think. people read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that one will help too much.
No. It would make people feel maybe more annoyed about safety.
And then they would
thinking
be
that it
less.
helps them.
They would be more careless that way.
Yeah.
Because there's articles about smoking and drinking, and I'm sure people read those, but they still ignore them.
Mhm. I think instead of a safety recognition program, they should do like training lunches or something like that.
Right. Training would be good, and it kind of addresses
Yeah.
that in number 4.
Yeah.
But I do think that's kind of like
Mhm.
that's like the best solution. Company is
Yeah.
having the one-on-one training.
Yeah. And I feel like number one, I don't know, like it just kind of says what happens when there is a fall. Why don't we talk about preventing the fall? Why are the falls happening? You know?
Oh.
That should be number 1. That the
Like,
number
let's
1 should be the
people aren't
last
falling.
thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so adding something of, more preventing instead of figuring out.
I mean, so
Instead
their whole goal is to
There's feedback.
prevent incidents, like not what to do when an incident happens.
Mhm. That's a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Do you think that the dinner or like the make it fun number 5, do you guys think that one would be helpful?
No, I think that's stupid. I'm sorry, I know stupid is not a good word, but
I could see
Based
I could
on
see a group of
performance.
employees being proudful on how low their score is. Just like, oh yeah, I got no points because I'm not safe around the work area,
Yeah.
I think people are really going to want to come back.
Yeah, they'll be like, do I want to go to a dinner that says I'm safe? Like they may just.
You're already at work all the time. Like I would like make it a, hey, lunch is on us, or like doing something while they're at work so they don't have to come back, and it's that doesn't seem like a good
Yep.
incentive to me.
They I've been in a situation like Disney World, and they had a system that there was 4 keys that you lived in the. I wonder if I can remember them. Anyway, but it's like safety. There's like 4 main keys that you're supposed to live when you're an employee. And if a supervisor notices that or a guest notices that, they can talk to someone and they'll write up a card. You did an excellent job with safety in this aspect or whatever. And then they do like a drawing or something every so often, or they'll pick one up and then they'll post it on the TV in the break room that says so-and-so, played with the kids at this park or at this event, and they were noticed, and so that's what they did. Or if like with safety or whatever, so-and-so was safe doing this thing or whatever. Did that, or we'd get like a little keychain or something. So I've had stuff like that.
What did they
before.
talk about in that motivation thing?
It was like, there's not a lot. I have it written in that.
I always feel like I'm cutting people off with the delay on this thing. Sorry, Madeline.
Oh, no, you're fine. Oh, dear. That's what it's for. It's like safety and show and efficiency and something else. Forgot. But if you got rewarded for it. I got one because I spent a whole afternoon searching for a guest's wedding ring at the bottom of the pool.
Oh,
And it was a sand bottom pool, so I had to sift through all the sand
do you have
to.
like a scuba tank down or something?
No, I didn't. I had the goggles, and
Oh,
I'd have to come up every 30 seconds to get air. That's why I took.
Find it?
And I did not. I found someone else's ring that they lost the week before. Got the card because I spent at least a couple hours doing that. And the thing is, it was at the bottom of the slide. And so they shut down the slide a little bit so that I could go through it. But then, like, I wasn't finding anything. And they're like, so many people that want to go down the slide. So they're just like, okay, be careful, Maddie. And they just started letting people come down the slide, and I would still be looking. Just whenever I had a chance, I'd dive under where the slide was. And anyway.
Jeez.
Okay, anyway, we don't have to-
Well, like, if you just think about, like, sometimes it just takes a little recognition. Like,
yeah,
hey,
and it's fun.
you practice.
It's fun to get recognized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they have those different aspects. So like the show, that's obviously a big thing with Disney. So like if you made your job really fun and someone recognized you for that, then it makes you want to work harder. But if they did that just for safety, it might be a little overkill.
Right.
If they had more aspects of the business that they could do it with, then I think that'd be good.
guys, I hate to kick off.
Go ahead.
I've got another meeting.
Yeah, we're pretty much done. So,
Bye, Adam.
See ya.
Have fun.
Thanks. I'll let you know how it goes.
Okay. Yeah, just call me.
All right.
We was doing an interview for our previous class. We're in the same group in my class. In the other class that we have together, we're in a group together.
Oh.
well, I don't have anything else if you guys don't have anything else to talk about.
So,
Can we
Colin,
start
I just want us to email you